If you are looking for an easy way to keep track of your expenses, look no further. I will share what I learned from my mistake and the one change I made that makes a difference and gets me back on track. Hi everyone! The first mistake that I found myself doing when starting out a cash envelope system is that I did not keep track of all my cash spending. If you are a cash spender, you already know how important that is since you can lose track easily when using cash. The first time I was using the cash envelope system, I got hung up on the coins. I would track my cash expenses and what was left in my envelope right down to the penny. But eventually, that did not work for me and I ended up slipping off from tracking my spending. To fix my coins problem, I've started rounding up my cash expenses to the nearest dollar. If my groceries is $59.50, I will just record it as $60. That way the number is even and I can save all the change I get. The simpler you make your system, the easier it is to stick with it and stay motivated. If you are a cash spender, are you doing something similar? Or do you have a different approach for keeping track of your expenses with the change? Sticking to a routine is super important. I struggled with keeping track of my expenses, which made it tough to get the cash envelope system to work for me. Some might prefer to hold on to all the receipts to log everything later on, but honestly, I ended up slacking on that. I would find myself going to the grocery store, gas station, or any other stores, then coming back home and cooking dinner, and by the time the night ends, I forgot all about the receipts and they just stack up. I also tried using a slip to write down my spending and what I had left, but I ended up not using that either. The problem was not the system, it was totally on me. But nope, I did not give up and finally I found a way that makes the most sense to me. Being that I have my phone with me all the time and instead of me writing it down on the slip, I just use the app. And later in this video, I will be walking you through the app that I use in case you want to try it out. It's been a bit of a journey trying out a ton of apps to find the one that makes the most sense to me. But once you find it, you stick with it and it works like a charm. With many trials and errors though. But that does not mean it will be the one and only. Maybe right down the road, your situation and the way you handle your finances change. So you might need to search for a different one that fits you and your situation best. This app lets me set aside money for different categories, kind of like using digital envelopes. It's honestly the simplest way for me to monitor my spending and see what I still have available. Instead of counting what I have left in my envelope, I can just pull out my phone for a quick check. But if writing it down works better for you, then stick with it. It's about finding that balance, what works best for you and makes sense for you. The app I use is GoodBudget. I find it works best for my pay schedule, whether you are a weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, or monthly. You have an option to customize the pay schedule. I am on a bi-weekly budget, so I only have experience using this app for that, but you should check it out if you are interested to see if it works for you. I find that it's easy to set up, allocate the amount for each category, and record transactions. However, since I use the free version, I'm limited to just 10 envelopes. This means I have to merge some categories together and I only combine the ones where I don't usually overspend and keep the category where I tend to go overboard separate. This way, I can clearly see how much I'm spending in the area I'm working on. This app has a report section that gives you a clear view of your income compared to your expenses, and also your spending report showing how much you spent on each envelope. You have an option to tweak it to look at the month, the last 90 days, or any time frame you want to check your spending. And if it did not work out for you, don't worry about it. I used to do that when I forgot to write down my spending and forgot all about it over and over again. It could just be that this way did not work out for me best. It didn't suit me, and I just have to find a way to do things to see if that will work out. Now let's get right to the app together with some examples. We'll kick things off as if we just download the app today. Here is what the app looks like. First, you have to create a new household. It will bring you to this showing you example of the budget. Here is where you will customize all your budget and categories. Before doing that, let's first select what kind of pay period you have. Whether you are a monthly, weekly, semi-monthly, or bi-weekly, they have that options for you. In this example, let's select every 2 weeks. Then you will have to select the date this pay period starts. So we will pick the 7th and then save. Let's start off the envelope with food. We will leave it as it is, groceries and eating out. For grocery, let's do $250, then save. Next is eating out. We will do $50. Then you will see here they have savings set up for emergency fund. This is where you can use it if you want to set aside money within each of your paychecks. Personally, I don't use this option. I just create an envelope for sinking funds and I allocate all the amount for my sinking funds in there. But if you want to use it, you have an option to select how frequent and how much you want to allocate the fund for each time. If you select every 2 weeks and semi-monthly, you will not be able to set a due date. But if you choose the monthly options, you can set a due date any day from the beginning to the end of the month. And for the rest of the options, you'll be able to select an exact date you need this funded by. For this example, let's do this as a goal for $1,000 due at the end of the year. And on this goal, it will tell you that you will need to set aside $20.83 every 2 weeks, starting from the day we set this goal up. Then save. The number will appear rounded here, but when you finish setting up your budget, the real amount will show up. Let's add some more envelopes in here. Rent for $700 every 2 weeks. And you have an option to create a new group as well. For this, we will create a new group for bills. Next is utilities for $200 under bills. And also insurance under bills for $118. You can always come back and adjust your budget whenever you want. And I will show you how later in the video. Some of my envelopes here do not stay the same amount each time I budget. My groceries, eating out, and gas are mostly the same for each paycheck. But if I need to adjust the number for any of the envelopes, I can do that as well. Next, I want to add gas for $100 under bills. At the bottom, it will show you how many envelopes you have left to add. Since we are using a free version, we are limited to 10 envelopes. Then we are going to put some more in savings. Let's add $50 for the house. And as you add each envelope and its amount, it will keep a running total for you. If you follow a zero-based budget, It's important to ensure that this total aligns with your income, so every dollar has its purpose. Now we are done with creating a budget, and we will click next to check this out. It will ask if you want the money to be added to your envelopes automatically or if you will do it manually. We will select Fill for Me. Then you can register your account so that you won't lose your transaction, and you can use this on the website or share it with your family as well. We will select Later for now. So here is where the magic happens. As you start to spend from each category, you will want to come back here and record all of your expenses. Let's do $150 on groceries. You can either click on the top right corner or click the envelope to record expenses. And down here, it has a details section if you want to add more details. Personally, I don't use this section, but I can see where it can be helpful. And as you spend, it will show what you have left in the envelope. Then let's do $40 on eating out. And if you overspent on a category, for example, you spend $110, when you only have $100 left, it will show up here in red. Within this app, you have an option to transfer from one envelope to another. So let's transfer $10 from eating out to groceries. You can click the top right corner here. On the type, select envelope transfer. $10 from eating out to groceries. Then save. And now both of our food envelopes are empty. It's totally fine to borrow from another envelope in case of an emergency. However, if you find yourself taking money from your grocery just to cover coffee or eating out, it might be best to try to avoid it and not make it a habit. Doing this too often can leave you short on cash for the categories you borrow from. And if this happens often, it might be time to reassess your budget and make some adjustments. If you want to add more envelopes or change the name of the group for food, bills, or savings, you can do that by clicking Edit on the top left corner. Then click on the envelopes and select Group and type whatever group name you want it to be. For example, you want to do fixed and variable expenses for the group. Now I want to group all the envelopes for variable expenses together, as well as grouping the fixed expenses together. I would have to do that same thing for all of these envelopes. You can also add an emoji in the name if you want. Once you are all set, select Done. At the bottom, you can view your transactions. If you use the premium version, you have an option to link to your bank accounts, but the free version works just fine for me. Next is a report section where you can check out your spending in each envelope, along with a comparison of your income and expenses. You can also customize time frame for the data by clicking on details and then selecting or adjusting the period you want to review. You can also rearrange the order of the envelope to your liking. When your second paycheck comes, you will have to go to the top right corner, click on the type, and select Add Income. We will add $1,400 received from second paycheck. Then it will ask you if you want it to go to your envelopes or available. Available is where you can allocate the money later on. It will just sit there for you at the bottom, and to allocate, you will click on the top right corner, click Type and select Fill from Available. Then you can start to fill up your envelopes as you like to, or choose a quick fill with options. For me, I prefer to fill it up myself instead of a quick fill. As my budget varies from one paycheck to another, you can add a specific amount to the envelope or add the budgeted amount you enter at the beginning. And there is also an option if you would like to roll over the remaining balance. For example, right now we have $100 left in gas. If you turn off the rollover remaining balance and add $50 there, your gas will now have $50. That $50 left over that you choose not to roll over will go to your available at the bottom, and you will have to figure out where you want to put this leftover to, whether you want to put it into your savings or something else. But if you choose to turn on the rollover, we will delete this transaction here and select rollover. Then what you add to your gas budget will be combined with what is left in your gas envelope. I like to fill the envelope right from the start instead of using available. For instance, we will remove paycheck 2 and start over. First, add the income, then allocate the amount you want to budget for this paycheck to the envelopes. Gas, let's add $100, groceries $250, eating out $50, rent $700, utilities $200. At the bottom, it will show you what you have remaining. As you will see here, there is a sweep option here. The way I understand this is that you can use it to sweep any leftovers from your paycheck into any envelope you like. Maybe your income came higher than expected and you want to allocate the extra to a certain envelope. For example, we have $100 remaining and you want to put this into your house savings. So now your house savings has $150 budgeted. This option is good so that you don't have to adjust your budgeted amount every time you have leftover from the paycheck. Or if you are short and need to pull any extra from a certain envelope if your income came lower than expected. For example, let's go back to the income that we just entered. And to do that, you have to go to the transaction tab at the bottom. Click on your paycheck 2 to add it. And let's say your insurance is supposed to be $200 and we already have $118 here. So we will only need to add $82 to this envelope. Now your insurance envelope is showing $200. But if we go down to the bottom where it says sweep, you will see we are in red, meaning our income does not cover all the budgeted amounts. So what you can do here is to see what envelope you can take this $82 from so that you have enough to cover your insurance. We will click on available and let's take $82 out from gas since we have $200 here and we normally spend $100 bi-weekly. When you go back to the envelope tab, you will now see you only have $118 left in gas. There is also a debt tracking feature. If you want to use it, you will have to go to the Accounts tab at the bottom. Click Add It to add a debt account. Within the free version, we are limited to one account between checking, savings, cash, or credit card. Click Add Debt Account. Then we'll enter the information. Let's do car with $1,000 left. There is a status you can choose from between working to pay off or paying off in full every month. For car, we will leave it as it is and then pick new envelope for the car. Let's do $300 with 5% interest and due on the 1st. Then save. Next, let's do a credit card with $100 balance. If you choose paying off in full every month, this will come up here saying you are doing this as a credit card account, and we can't do that because of the account limitation. What we can do instead is to choose working to pay off and due at the end of the month. This way, we can still use it within the free version. Once you are all set, click Done. When you go back to the envelope tab at the bottom, it will tell you the debt payment envelope has been updated and ask if you want to fill the envelopes now or later. We can choose no thanks for now. So those two that we just added will show up under debt payment, and this name can be changed as well if you want. Then you can allocate the budgeted amount to this when your payment comes and pay this off by clicking the top right corner. On the type, select debt payment, then add the amount and select the debt you want to pay off. I tried adding about 10 debts in here and it doesn't seem to be limited, so I figured that you are able to add as many as you want in here for the debt account. That is it for today, everyone. I just wanted to show you how I use this budgeting app to keep tabs on my expenses. With the free version, you can use it up to 2 devices, which is nice if you want to share the budget with a partner. Right now, I only use it on my phone, but there is also a website option. You can also import bank transactions and export your spending data through the website. But if you are just starting out with this app, I recommend sticking to the phone version as first. And once you get the hang of it, you can explore what the website has to offer. I will leave the link to the website for this app in the description box. The site has a lot more detail if you want to read into it. The key is to find what suits you best and feels right for you. I hope this is helpful, and if you decide to give this a shot, I would love to hear how it turns out. And if you are already using this app, don't hesitate to say hi or share any features that I might have overlooked. I would love to connect with the fellow Good Budget fans. Hope you enjoy and stay for the ride on the next video. Bye!